A bishop, 2 rooks, and a queen were sacrificed. Welcome everyone. Today we will be looking at the original Immortal game played all the way back in 1851. This game featured Adolf Anderssen and Lionel Kiesertsky in a game in which white sacrificed almost every piece and still won. This game is immortal as it will live on in the minds of chess players forever. Quickly, before we start, please like and subscribe, and I have created very in-depth annotations of this game for you to check out after watching this video. Link in the description. Adolf Anderssen has the white pieces, and the game began with e4, e5, and f4. This is called the King's Gambit, and white's idea is that he will give away a pawn to control the center, get good development, and have great attacking chances. Black takes the pawn and white now develops his bishop. Black now plays queen h4 to check the black king and prevent him from castling. In chess, you can castle, but if you move your king, and even if you return back to the original square, you will not be able to castle. We usually castle to get the king to safety, so having an uncastled king can be very dangerous. White moves the king, and then black plays b5 attacking the bishop and sacrificing a pawn. The idea is to open up the pieces and gain time to catch up to white's development. White takes the pawn, and then black develops the knight. White now develops his knight with a tempo as it is attacking the black queen. In chess, tempo refers to time, and in this case white develops a piece, forces black to retreat, and then is able to move again. White has gained time, or tempo, as he has made 2 useful moves whilst black made 1 retreating move. It's almost as if white had 2 moves in a row. This is why it is usually not good to bring your queen out very early in the opening, as it can be attacked with tempo. Black retreats the queen, and then white defends his e4 pawn and opens up the bishop. Black now moves the knight, overprotecting the f4 pawn and threatening knight g3, forking the king and rook. A fork is when one piece attacks 2 pieces. You may be wondering, why can't white just take the knight? That is because if you move the a2 pawn, the queen will take the rook, and a rook is worth more than a knight. White now plays knight to h4, which interrupts the queen's view of the rook and allows white to now take on g3 with the pawn. Black now plays queen g5, forking the knight and the bishop, but white gets out of this by playing knight f5, putting the knight on a defended square and blocking the queen's sight on the bishop. Black now plays c6, attacking the bishop, and white responds with the aggressive g4, counterattacking the black knight. Black retreats the knight, and instead of retreating the bishop, white plays rook g1, setting a nasty trap. Lionel takes the bishop, but after h4 attacking the queen retreats, and h5. The queen will end up being stuck in a cage. Black has to play queen to g5, but now the queen has no safe squares. Anderssen now increases the pressure with queen f3 and is threatening to play bishop takes f4, trapping the black queen. Black now moves his knight to create an escape route for the queen. White now takes the pawn with tempo, and black responds by retreating the queen. White now develops his knight and threatens knight d5 with tempo. Knights usually want to be in the center of the board. A common saying is a knight on the rim is dim, due to it being able to only see 4 squares, whereas a knight in the center can control 8 squares. Black now develops his bishop and attacks the rook. White now jumps the knight into the center with a counterattack on the queen, as the queen is more valuable than the rook. The queen now takes the b2 pawn, and both of white's rooks are hanging. Instead of moving one of the rooks, Anderssen instead moves his bishop and allows both his rooks to die. The idea behind this absurd bishop move is to create a mating net around the black king. A mating net is something that is created to limit the king's available escape squares, making it easier to checkmate the king. Black now takes the first rook, and instead of saving his remaining rook, white plays e5, disconnecting the queen from the important g7 pawn. Black now takes white's second rook with check, and white responds by just moving his king to e2. Black now develops his knight, but that allows Anderssen to execute a wonderful combination. Anderssen first takes on g7 and forces the king to d8. Now pause the video to find the brilliant move that Adolf Anderssen played. In this position, Anderssen sacrificed the queen with the brilliant queen f6 check. This move forces the black knight to take the queen and relinquish control over the e7 square. White now finishes with bishop to e7, a lovely checkmate. This game is incredibly famous, beautiful, and artistic, and highlights how you can sacrifice most of your army as the only objective is checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and check the description for further analysis of this game. Now go promote some pawns.